Good morning, and welcome to Coffee with Bann. Today's drink is a Starbucks vanilla frappuccino thing, because we are out of distilled water, and we can't make coffee without distilled water just because of how hard our water is. Not terrible. And today's topic is the Nintendo DS. So I am a big fan of the DS line. I have been playing DSs since I was at least 6. At the very least, that's when I got my very first one. It was one of these suckers, the original DS in red. I think it came as like a Mario Kart bundle. Got it from my sister for my 6th birthday. 6th? Yeah, I think it was my 6th. I loved this thing to death. And when I say to death, I do mean that. I snapped the hinge off. Well, not snapped exactly, more so, absolutely slaughtered the hinge slowly. Admittedly, the original DS and the DS Lite have never had good hinges. Never ever. They've always been kind of terrible. It's always been a weak spot. But yeah, I had one of these from probably about 6 to 8. Broke this. This isn't my original, by the way. I got this like a year ago. But I broke my original DS and bought my mom's old DS Lite off of her, because she happened to have one that I also broke the hinge on, but like not quite as badly. And that lasted me a solid, I don't know, from like 8 to 13. So 5 years or so. And it was lovely. It was a great little DS, and I miss it so much. But eventually the hinge broke on that too. So, you know. Beyond that, a while later, our family got a Nintendo 2DS. In this color scheme and everything. The black and blue is kind of boring, actually, if I'm being totally honest. But, oh wait, I'm missing my mom's DSi. We also had a black DSi. I don't have a black DSi, but... wrong side. I don't have a black DSi anymore, but I do have this blue one that I got from my girlfriend, well, my was-girlfriend a few years ago. So yeah, I've had all of the sort of variations of the DS, apart from the DSi XL, in some way, shape, or form. But also, several variations of the 3DS over my lifetime. Okay, right, so enough about my history of owning DSs. The DS Lite is the one that I remember most fondly, because that was what I played the most. I had it for like 5 years before it broke, and it was my dang old favorite thing. On it I played so much Animal Crossing Wild World. And if you haven't played Animal Crossing Wild World, play it. Honestly, Wild World is an interesting one. Mostly because, I don't think I've got my copy here, but like, mostly because it's not New Horizons. It is more interesting in terms of the characters. The characters feel a lot more lively than they do in New Horizons. How do I put this? I don't know. I have a lot of nostalgia for the game, but also I think that it's just really good. It also introduced online play for the first time in Animal Crossing, and I think it was the second ever Nintendo game to have online play First being Mario Kart. Speaking of which, by the way, Mario Kart DS, that's pretty dang good. It's not my favorite out of the series, but that's just because I'm not used to it, I think, and also my hands are a little bit big to play anything super fast-paced on the DS. But Mario Kart DS is, I think, the birth of modern Mario Kart. It is the first one to have really right-feeling physics, for the most part. Although no mid-air control is kind of annoying. And the courses are great, the music is great. Waluigi Pinball, obviously. Okay, right. So when I got my mom's DS Lite, it didn't come with her old R4, because she had no idea where it was. And if you know anything about the R4, cool. The R4's pretty neat. Lets you run your own backup games. And it allows you to, actually, how did people back up games before the DSi? Like, wait, actually, I think I can guess. Because there used to be flash carts for the DS before you could just pop in a regular DS flash cart. There were ones that relied on the GBA slot to run Homebrew. And so you probably popped those into the GBA slot, and your regular game into the DS slot, launched the GBA one, and then were able to dump your regular game to the GBA flash cart SD card slot, whatever. That's my guess. I don't know. I should look into that. Right. So the DS, lots of games, lots of cool games. Of course, there's Pokemon on the DS. Pokemon is one of my biggest things. I love Pokemon. Like, how do I... I don't know. I keep saying, how do I put it? When more so, I just don't really know what to say next. I should drink more of my coffee. I'm gonna leave the lid off so I remember more. Right, so Pokemon had a huge presence on the DS. You had Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart, Gold, Soul, Silver, Black, White, Black 2, White 2. That's 9 games. And I have played exactly some of them. My advice, play Platinum, Heart Gold or Soul Silver. Basically, just don't play Diamond and Pearl. Play Platinum if you can. Diamond and Pearl are fine, but they feel so much less complete. Okay. So, I keep not knowing where I'm going with this. Oh, also, Sonic was on there. Of course I'm talking about Sonic. But, Sonic was on the DS line, and in particular, you ever played Sonic Classic Collection? It's a curious beast, in that, it's the classic Sonic games, but somehow squished onto a DS. The DS should by no means be able to emulate a Genesis. And yet, they emulated the Genesis on it. They did not remake the games. Frankly, emulating the Genesis is more impressive. It's probably the first time anybody said that. It also runs better on DSi in particular than it does on, like, DS or DS Lite. This is not the ideal way to play any of the classic Sonic games. but it's a neat way to play them. And that's all I really care about that much. But also I have nostalgia for it. Then there's Sonic Rush, which I don't... I'm not that big on. I mean, good soundtrack, but like the level design is just kind of okay for the most part. You can tell that it was made by the Sonic Advance folks. Not to dunk on Sonic Advance. I like Sonic Advance 1. I'm okay on 2, I'm okay on 3. And I'm okay on Rush. What else is there to talk about? Oh, right. My favorite puzzle game of all time. I'm sure you can guess what it is. Neves! Oh yeah, and Professor Layton is on there too. I'm fine with Professor Layton. I'm a little bit too stupid for it, though. Neves is a game that I quite enjoy. It is very much a low-end game. It's just tangrams. Just place the shapes where they should be in order to make a bigger shape, right? But the soundtrack's pretty neat, and the game itself is fairly fun. Now, if you plan to get a DS, if you can find one cheap, new 3DS XL, or any of the 3DS line. If you can't, I would say probably go for a DS Lite. It has the GBA slot. I didn't mention the GBA slot. Crap. I played a lot of Pokemon Sapphire on there. Who could have guessed that Pokemon Sapphire is something I've played a lot of? But yeah, DS Lite still has the GBA slot. Assuming you are not rough with it, the hinge will last fine enough. And it just feels good. I will say I do like the clickier buttons and the sort of meatier feeling of the original DS. But the DS Lite is a lot more pocketable, it's a lot more sleek. And I don't know. I don't know what I'd choose between the two myself. But for most people, the DS Lite. Better screens, better form factor overall. Still has the GBA slot. And will probably last longer than an original DS. If you really want to run homebrew, and you don't want to get an R4, or you want to be able to run it a little bit faster or something, get a DSi. DSi has some cool stuff. Bad cameras, great camera software. It, I don't know, it depends on what you're interested in. But if you want a DS, you can't go wrong with the DS Lite. And an R4 cartridge for legal dumps and homebrew costs like $4 on AliExpress, or if you'd prefer, you can get a drop-shipped one from eBay instead for like $17. Anyway, moral of the story is, play the games that I like. And that has been Coffee with Bann.